Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Brass Giving Podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Christian. Alongside me is
Espen.
And today, you may have noticed a couple of things. This video went up a little bit earlier than usual for those of you that are astute about stuff like that. And the title of the video, we're going to be discussing Magic Fest Detroit today. And as of the release of this video, obviously, that you would know if you're watching it, Magic Fest Detroit is this weekend. This is going to go up the 13th, I believe, is when this goes up. So, we just wanted to talk about Magic Fest Detroit, and we wanted to talk about just some things we like about it, and just give a general overview about what the experience is like and what our experience has been like. So, to start off, we want to talk about what the environment of Detroit is like. And this is... Magic Fests are a monster of their own. Magic Fests appeal to literally a huge diversity among the community. We are talking from vintage and old school players all the way to standard and Brawl players. For whatever reason, Brawl be going on still. I don't know if that's a format that people still play.
Potentially.
Maybe, but you'll go to a Magic Fest, you'll probably find some Brawl players just because this Magic Fest appeal to such a large variety of the Magic community, and it's really exciting kind of meeting and talking with people from different experiences that started at all different points in Magic. Some started from Alpha, some started from when I started in Zendikar, some started maybe when Espen started, like Kaladesh block. Yeah. So, like, who knows what you'll meet there? And so, Espen, why don't you go ahead and expand upon that a little bit? What do you, when you've been to Magic Fest before, especially Detroit, kind of what is the feeling, the environment of it?
The environment is super inclusive. You never feel out of place. It is very nice and very cool to go in because there's a lot of people there. There's a lot of people. And for some people, going there, they might feel out of place just because there's so many people. But when you go there, it does not feel like that. Everyone's super inclusive. You want to play a game, you need some help editing some cards, you got trades. There's a lot of people that trade there. You get to meet a lot of cool people and maybe even join some group chats. I know I joined a couple group chats for Modern and whatnot when I met a couple of people, and it's just lots of fun, and it's a great environment. It's very inclusive and it's very safe. Yeah,
it's great environment. Detroit is among one of the best Magic Fests I've been to. Very, very exciting, and the players are always great. I've never had any, per se, bad experience. I've had some bad beats with my decks have given me, but I've never, per se, had a horrible experience at a Magic Fest, especially one like Detroit. It's always been very positive and very exciting, so that's pretty much the environment talk. And so, some of you may be asking, what are the expectations of me as a player? Well, the good thing about Magic Fest is the expectation is you'll beat your games on time, and that's probably about it. You can do anything at these events. You buy a Fanatic package for Constructed. Oh, you don't want to play Pioneer or Legacy? Well, just wait till Standard gets ready to fire off. Or don't want to play that? You can wait till Era fires off. Your only expectation is to be where you're supposed to be when games and events fire off. And that's about it. And obviously, of course, to be a decent human being and don't cheat and all that stuff, but that's a given.
Yeah, right.
That's given.
Just like express the right amount of sportsmanship and just the common courtesy if someone misses their trigger, which for the more competitive events, that's understandable. You're playing for big prizes, but like for the most part, when I have gone to play, especially in the side events or in the command zone, if someone misses a trigger and they want to go back, if like nothing else huge has progressed from that, I'll allow it. It's fine. We're all there for the same reason, to have fun and enjoy the game. Yeah,
and one big thing we want to highlight is please, please, please wear deodorant. I know this is a joke with this community. Like, it's a little bit of a meme with the Magic community about players not abiding by personal hygiene, but please wear deodorant, wear some cologne, take a shower even at the very least, and clean yourself.
Again, there are a lot of people. When I say a lot, it's not understated. There's a lot of people in the room. So it can be I don't think it's ever cramped at times, but when you're moving in between like tables to go to your events, it can feel cramped.
Yes.
There's just a lot of bodies around, so it is always greatly appreciated.
Yeah, don't be that guy that everyone knows as, oh, that guy, he smelled bad. You know, I don't think anyone wants to be known as that. So please, 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 an expectation of ours is just don't come after you worked at the mule farm or whatever. Just keep yourself fairly clean. That's all we ask, and I think that should be an expectation that these Magic Fests should stand as a standard of cleanliness,
right?
You know, but besides the point, that's not what we're talking about here. So, what do we personally enjoy about the Magic Fest experience? Well, I'll give mine. I like meeting new people and meeting the artists and doing deals with vendors. Simple enough. That's probably everyone's favorite stuff, but in particular, I love talking with the artists. I love having my cards signed. I love buying prints, buying exclusive playmats that only they have. And I love just the interaction and kind of finding out what their inspiration is for certain things. So Husband, what do you enjoy about the Magic Fest experience? As
much as I also love the signed cards and talking to artists, I also love meeting people. Meeting people is one of my favorite things. I love meeting new faces, talking, hearing stories, what people get ideas, how they generate ideas. How they began Magic is also really cool sometimes. So I was like, yeah, like for me, I started playing Standard, and then I went to an event, but it turned out to be a Legacy event. We hear those stories, and they're always interesting to hear and talk about and bond over. And another thing I love to do is trading in. I love going to the vendors, getting new cards, trading in cards, building decks. It's a great place to build a deck. If you're ever going to build a deck and get your trades for the best value, I recommend doing it at a Magic Fest. They're always super nice and super readily available to help you. And just a overall fun experience.
So, some people will be asking, you guys sound like you've been to a fair amount of Magic Fests. Do you have any tips? Well, my number one tip to you about going to a Magic Fest is try not to get overwhelmed. Because walking into this venue, whatever the venue may be, Detroit is at, you know, I see that it's advertised as TCF Hall now. It's not called Kobo anymore.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
So it formerly Kobo. I guess it's not called that anymore. That's what everyone in Michigan knows it as, though. So we're just going to refer to it as Kobo. At Kobo, well, no, we should probably not because we don't want to confuse people coming from out of state.
Right.
At the TFC or TCF, whatever it is. TCF. At the TCF Center or Hall or whatever they call it now, you know, it's a big venue. And Magic Fest Detroit is going to be in one of the big event center rooms in this huge event center. So don't get overwhelmed. These people are not there to hurt you. They're just there to play some Magic and have some fun and, you know, just live their best life, as some could say.
Right.
You know, try not to get overwhelmed and enjoy the ride. It's an experience. You're going to meet people from all different walks of life and just strap in. The Magic Fest experience is something that you'll never forget. And try your best to make it as positive. If there's a toxic situation, get out of it. You know, if the play group you're playing with is bad, go find a new group to play with. You know, strap yourself in and prepare for a fun weekend of Magic. And that's been what would be your number one tip about Magic Fest?
My number one tip, what I wish I did at my first Magic Fest or my first ever big Magic event, would be to when you get there, I would see when events and when they are. So then you have time to get cards signed. You have time to do your trade-ins. Yeah, you know when you're going to be playing and when to show up. It makes things a lot easier. It's a way to help with feeling overwhelmed because you can come in there and be like, okay, I'm here. What do? I don't know. You go up to the big event stand, I believe, and they'll have little flyers. And sometimes they have them on the computer screens too.
Always on the computer screens.
Always, which is also super nice. But if I would recommend being that one of your first things, see what's going on when, and then you can plan out your day. Be like, okay, I'll do an event here. Maybe trade some cards and these two events here and there. It just makes it a lot easier to navigate it and to help with feeling overwhelmed if you don't know what you want to do first. You can just refer to those.
Planning your day is absolutely crucial, especially if have certain events you want to hit. And we'll cover some things that are going on, some possibilities you have coming up in the next section. So before we move on, I just want to encourage you guys to like, share, subscribe, and comment. It really helps us out a lot, and like we always say, we want you guys to be here on this journey, and, you know, you'll find us wearing our Brass Gaming shirts, which they are ordered, and we have been assured they will be done in time. We unfortunately will not have spares, as we had to account for other finances, such as gas and stuff coming down to Detroit. But fear not, shirts may be available sooner than you think. And so, Espen, let's go ahead and move on to this next section. And I noticed the bulletin point I put here is similar to what we just talked about. So we can move on to that and go to the second one, which is, how many Magic Fests have we been to? Now, this number is actually surprisingly low. While both of us have been to multiple larger events, we've only been to a certain number of Magic Fests. I myself have been to Detroit twice, and I've been to Columbus once. With Detroit this year going to be my third time, and Columbus this year going to be my fifth. So I've been to 3 total Magic Fests. What about you, Espen?
I have been to 2 total Magic Fests. I've been to one in Detroit last year, and then I've been to Columbus as well, which they were both really fun.
And I think with us being to, I mean, I think that's still a considerable amount, because you know, most people only get to go to 1 a year at their state, and we've got to go to a couple, and especially you, your first year you went, you got to go to 2 in the same year. So, you know, we're planning on going to 2 this year, maybe 3, who knows? But, so we're kind of coming from a newer perspective as well, where we're just giving the newbie tips on what we wish we knew when we got there.
Oh, yeah.
And so one big thing that could also be overwhelming, the vendors. So, Espen, how about you talk about the vendors for a minute? Like, maybe, perhaps, what's one thing to know when going to the vendors? If what's one thing that you wish you knew when you were first talking to a vendor?
What I first knew when I was first looking at the vendors, I would just browse around first. Don't just run to one vendor and then start trading in everything, because sometimes they might not have what you're looking for. That's another thing. And sometimes they'll have these binders on the side, which have some really good deals sometimes for certain cards they can go to. So my recommendation for the vendors when it comes to those, just browse around. There's no need to rush to trade in. You can browse Friday and then come back Saturday and do some trade-ins, or even Sunday. And they are all very nice. They're always ready to help, ready to conversate about Magic even. I know that sometimes when I would come down, they would like come over a particular card, and then they'll start reminiscing over a story, and then we'll start talking about it, which is really fun and very interesting indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. The vendors are, you know, a lot of them have different prices on a lot of things.
Yes.
You know, a lot of them value some other cards more. And the one thing I wish I knew when I was going to my first Magic Fest was to bring my bulk, like, commander stuff or my bulk standard stuff.
Yes.
Because vendors are looking for a multitude of cards, and it's a great place to trade up. I think I told this story before, but I took my box of bulk commander cards to a Magic Fest, and I walked out of that Magic Fest with this bulk cards with a Imperial Seal and a Badlands. And
wow.
So it's very, very exciting, the amount of trading you can do with the vendors just to score some sweet deals. And vendors are willing to work with you on a multitude of things. Like, if you don't like a price, negotiate. You know, if you think that your Imperial Seal, instead of them giving you 250 credit, maybe you think you should get 275 credit. Just say, hey, is there any way to give me a little bit more? And most of the time, they don't mind, because they're there to buy, sell, trade. It's what these vendors get paid to do and how they make a living. So don't be afraid to haggle with them as well. That's another thing I wish I knew, is I'm a pretty non-confrontational kind of guy. I usually just go with whatever price I think is fair. And sometimes on some of my stuff, I wish I would have haggled for a better price. And the times that I did, I got a little bit of a better price on some of my cards. So these guys are the experts. They know Magic cards probably more than any of us know, because they go to these events all the time. They have online stores and they handle cards all the time. So if don't be afraid to talk with them and say, hey, look, I think this card's worth $3.25 in trade, and they might just give it to you. Who knows? And
sometimes vendors, all the time I have noticed when going to vendors, they usually have a board of of cards that they are actively seeking for.
Yeah.
Which they generally have, I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe that they trade for higher.
Yes.
For, because they are actively seeking cards. It's like a lot of the newer cards, such as Earl and
Underworld Breach, maybe.
Underworld Breach as well. They might be looking for those as well. So if you have a few of those, they're ready to trade for them.
Yeah, you can. There's no better feeling than trading your standard bulk stuff into like a revised dual land, or trading your standard commander bulk stuff into a big power card for a format that you love. I think that's the most exciting thing about vendors in general, is that they don't care because they're willing to do it. And I think that's what's exciting. So don't be, and another small tip about vendors, don't be sad. Don't be like, think you're screwing them over, I guess, by giving them cheap cards for an expensive card. They don't care. They're literally there to get your cards for their cards. That's what they do. And so, again, haggle. Don't be afraid. Don't think that you're ripping them off. And just, again, enjoy the experience. Very, very good experience.
It's a great experience.
So, my favorite thing, I shouldn't say ours, because I know Espen likes this too, but it's definitely my favorite.
I'm starting to get into it. You are slowly getting me more and more into this.
So, we want to talk about some of the artists that are going to be appearing at Magic Fest Detroit. And to start off, we wanted to start off with the one I think I'm most excited for. And this is Jason Engle. Now, Jason Engle's done a fair bit of cards recently. But, most importantly, he's done the Constellation Gods.
Ooh.
And my favorite among them is Keranos, God of T-Poses. So, sorry, I'm sick. I'm sick still. But, yeah, Keranos, God of T-Poses. And we'll have him on screen. You'll see exactly what he's T-posing. So I look forward to asking him why he chose that particular pose for Keranos. So
that is interesting, yeah.
Very interesting, but Jason Engle, a phenomenal artist, and he's been doing more and more Magic cards, and the Constellation Gods and Demigods, phenomenal.
Really good.
Yeah. So, Espen, how about you go on to the next artist?
So, my favorite artist I'm excited to see is Mark Tedden. Now, I did see him last year. I had him sign a Defense Grid, which was super cool. I just love his art style. Especially his older arts are really amazing. But he did the Soul Ring for the Magic Fest, which I am excited for him to sign. And I also have a Soul Ring playmat of that same art that I got from Columbus Magic Fest that I'm also super excited to sign. I kind of want to ask him, like, hey, what gave you this idea to like make Soul Ring look like this? Because if you look at the art, it doesn't really look like a Soul Ring. It looks like a massive contraption. I'm really excited where he got his ideas from. Yeah,
and Mark Tedden, fun fact, did the original Soul Ring art too. So really cool that he got to revisit and do the new art for Soul Ring as well. Yeah. And so next artist is going to be there that I'm excited about is RK Post. Now, RK Post has done, well, he's done a fair bit of unique art. His art style is truly one of its own, like very creepy, kind of dark. And so the one card I'm very excited about to get him to sign of mine is Fulminator Mage. Iconic card. I love destroying lands. Now, I don't like getting Veil of Summer in response to that, but
it feels good.
We'll take what we can get. So, Espen, why don't you move on to the next artist?
I also like to see Alex Konstad. He did, one of the cards that he has done is Slimefoot the Stowaway. I remember building a commander deck that passed around it. I just love the art. I love the little saplings around Slimefoot. I thought that's a little cute touch, and I'm really excited to see him.
Yeah, and so this next artist that's going to be there, he actually did a special art for me, which is why is a card I want to highlight. And I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but it's Chuck Lukacs, Lukacs. So we tried to figure out how to say it, couldn't figure it out, so that's what we're going with. And we're going to get a picture of him and put it on screen, but I actually have an interesting story about this. When I was at Magic Fest Detroit last year, he was there, and I was playing a Reaper King deck. And he did a fair bit of the Scarecrows, and the Scarecrow that I was most excited about to get him signed was Thornwatch Scarecrow, because I really like the art. So while we were talking about this and I was looking through his artist proofs, I noticed he had some of his original sketches with them. And so I asked him about one of the sketches that looked similar to Thornwatch Scarecrow. He's like, no, this was the original idea. And we'll have the card on screen, a picture that we took. He ended up doing an artist proof custom sketch for me that was the original design of Thornwatch Scarecrow, which, as you'll notice, has Kithkin skulls on it.
Very
and
interesting.
ultimately, he decided, or WotC decided to scrap it because they said it looked too similar to a different art than Magic. He didn't say what card, but it looked very similar to a card in the block. So very exciting, and I was super excited to get that artist proof and get that sketch done. And so, Espen, how about the next artist?
Tom Baxa, who did Maelstrom Wanderer. I love Maelstrom Wanderer. I remember playing it in the newest Omnath deck, the newest Omnath from M20. I love the card. I love the art style that it uses, and it's just really cool. I'm excited to see him.
And finally, last but not least, and this is another one I'm extremely excited about due to some of his recent art. And this is Jeff Miracola. And the card I want to highlight, it's not really a card, but a token. It's the Beeble token from Unsanctioned. Now, when you see all the other Beebles, they're kind of cute, kind of cutesy. Well, this Beeble token is ferocious and angry, and he's holding that fork, and oh god, I don't even want to imagine the things he's done with that fork. So, that was our talk about the artists. We're really excited for all the artists, and, we hope that more and more decide to come to Detroit in the coming years. And unfortunately, there was one that canceled, which was Enzo Chen. Unfortunately, with the outbreak, he unfortunately couldn't make it. And, we hope he's safe. He tweeted on Twitter that he was in a safe area. And so
that's good to hear.
Our hope is with you that you maintain safe and away from this virus. And so to start off, for our next little slide of this body, we want to talk about what kind of events are in Detroit. And simple enough, the main event. And the main event of Detroit is standard this year. And the cost of entry for this is $69.99, so $70. Now, main events are a monster of their own because you're playing for serious money and accolades.
And a lot of rounds, too, in a day. It's not your regular F&M. You're playing like 7 to 9 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. And whew,
you have, in order to make day 2, you have to go X and 2 or better to even make day 2 of the event. So be on your best game. Play the deck you're most confident in.
And we actually have someone playing in that as well.
Yeah, he'll be hopefully wearing the Brass Gaming shirt. We're going to talk to him and just confirm he'll wear it. And it's actually Espen's roommate who is trying to re-queue for the Pro Tour. So, he had some success at Columbus, but unfortunately finished just out of top 8 in the PTQ.
Yeah,
and ended up having some bad luck in the main event. But
we wish you luck.
We wish you luck, Nick. We hope you make us proud wearing that sweet Brass Gaming shirt. And so, Espen, how about you talk about the next thing here?
So the PTQs, the 2 formats that take place for the PTQs are standard and modern. They cost $55 each, or the package costs $140. And the package allows you to do all 5 PTQs.
Or 3. You get 3 tickets for.
You get 3 tickets?
Yeah.
Okay, you get 3 tickets, and I believe there's 2 on Friday, I think 1 on Saturday, and then 2 more on Sunday. I may be wrong, but I just looked it up, so I might be right.
And so the next thing we want to talk about is the Fanatic packages. Now, these are the bulk of what players get, I like to assume, besides the main event. And so the Fanatic packages are for constructed costs $130, and this gives you event tickets to play in double up in regular events for any constructed format. And also we have the Fanatic package for the limited, which costs $150, and you can play stuff such as draft with that package. And so, Espen, this next section is where we're going to be for the most part in Detroit. Why don't you go ahead and share this?
So we are going, there is also the Command Zone, which costs $80 for access to exclusive area to play Commander, which 2 years ago, I believe, they did not have that. Commander players didn't really have a huge place to play unless they played in a, was it considered constructed still?
Yeah,
I mean, Commander, or was it
Commander's always separate, but it was a separate Commander package.
Yeah, so you get a separate Commander package and then just play a couple of games. Where now, with a Command Zone, we can play as many games of Commander there as you please, and the area is just for Commander players. Yep. So you can have a bunch of people over a format that you love and can talk to. It's really nice, and it's a great time.
And it's nice because for the Command Zones going forward this year, they're trying this new thing where they're going to have areas divided among power level. Okay. So between your 1s, 2s, 3, 4s, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9s, and 10s. So each area is going to have separate areas where you can go and sit and try to catch games of various power levels. And if you're not sure about your power level, I would suggest playing in a higher one and letting your deck be determined as weaker rather than playing in a weaker one and having your deck be higher.
True.
Only because you want to avoid feel bads. You know, it might feel bad for you to get blown out, but at least you know your deck's not that level.
Right. Of course.
And so finally, another thing that's exciting about Magic Fest is you get exclusive playmats. Now, with the Fanatic packages, you get this year a Path to Exile, the new art playmat, and you get a promo. Well, the Magic Fest Detroit exclusive playmat is Erebos the Bleak-Hearted. This playmat costs $14.99, and we'll put the artwork on screen. This playmat looks sick.
It looks awesome.
While I was hoping for the Constellation God, I'll take what I can get. This looks just as sweet. And overall, phenomenal playmat. We are very excited to get that. I know I pre-ordered mine. I don't think you or Mike, who is our director behind the camera today, have pre-ordered his, but overall, cool playmat.
I might pick one up there, maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, and
it's a sweet playmat.
Very, very sweet. Again, the artwork will be on screen for you to see. Overall, to summarize, Magic Fests are this exciting thing, and I know I've coughed through most of this because for whatever reason, my throat decided to get really dry during the beginning of this, so I apologize, but the Magic Fest is something we're really excited about going to, and we can finally advertise Brass Gaming at a big event, and
this will be a huge step for us, actually. Yeah. A very huge step.
And hopefully, come Columbus, we'll have the financial means to have some shirts or some stickers or just something to give out to people that subscribe to the channel, and so we're very, very excited. We're going to do some vlogging at Magic Fest Detroit. We're going to have the camera set up on the way there, record some gameplay of us playing and interacting with vendors and hopefully get some cool pictures with some of the artists or maybe the cosplayer that's going to be there. But overall, I am extremely excited to go to Magic Fest Detroit this year. It should be a great experience, and yeah, it should just be a lot of fun. Espen, do you have any thoughts about Magic Fest Detroit this year that you want to get out?
I'm just excited to go back again. I remember going last year was my first time. I get to go back there again. Super excited. Really excited to meet new people and ready to get my commander on.
This Magic Fests are the top of all events that you can play in, I would say. This is like the top of the food chain. So when you're playing here, you're playing with the best players. You're playing with in the best crowd, and Channel Fireball does an amazing job hosting these events.
They're really awesome.
Overall, the experience should be great and should be exciting. And so we're gonna cut the body a little bit short just to move on. And final thoughts. Overall, hyped. Very, very excited just to go back, and for my third Magic Fest Detroit, just very excited to experience it all over again and to, kind of feel the feeling of that exhilarating feeling I get when I walk into that area with all those players. Espen, do you have any final thoughts on Magic Fest Detroit?
I'm excited to see a lot of familiar faces because I know I play Magic. I played in Flint. I played in Ypsilanti. I've played in Garden City at Pandemonium, and I'm excited to see a bunch of old faces of people that I played with before and see them all together. It is always super cool because everyone has a bunch of different views on the game, and I'm really excited to see them all again all together and play with them.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. And so we skipped this out last episode because we wanted the tone to remain fairly serious last episode. But this is the anime suggestion of the week. And right now I am giving an official spoiler alert. I am very excited we're finally covering this anime in depth. And yeah, this is your spoiler alert. So Christian and Eden, go ahead and play the ding the bell. And so, welcome back from that short little bell ding. This week's anime suggestion is JoJo Bizarre Adventures Phantom Blood. Now, we thought about doing this two ways. Doing it in general like we did in the past, or doing each section, each part of JoJo broken down. And so just for the sake of kind of going in depth, because each part, each season is so very unique. It's unlike the last.
It's crazy how diverse they are, because like a lot of enemies, they'll have like somewhat similar things to like past seasons, but this one is just, it's always different. Yeah.
This is the season that started it all. And so Phantom Blood is part 1 of JoJo, obviously. And the main character of this is obviously Jonathan Joestar, who is the ultimate good boy and, you know, is the ultimate gentleman.
Yes.
And his father at the beginning of the anime is in this horrendous accident. And this is George Joestar. And Dio's father comes and finds him, you know, falling off this cliff and is down there to, you know, scavenge for good stuff, not really to save his life. Well, George awakens and sees him as he's saving him and gives him this letter saying that he pretty much, the Joestars owed him a life debt or a favor. So this favor ultimately ended up being used for this Dio's father, for Dio to come and live with Jonathan and George and his mansion. And the Joestar family is extremely wealthy.
Yeah.
And so Dio is Dio. Horrible person. Just a bad dude.
He's cunning. He's manipulative. He does anything to get his way, per se.
Yeah, Dio is not a good dude. And his ultimate goal is to kind of deal with Jonathan so that he becomes the prodigal son and gets the Joestar fortune for himself. Well, a lot of stuff happens.
Yeah.
It takes a turn. In their childhood, Dio ends up stealing a kiss from Jonathan's love, Erina. And again, we talked about it in a further episode. That's where you thought it was this character, but it was me, Dio, with him doing this kind of hand motion meme came from. And so, yeah, he's just a bad dude. And in childhood, eventually, Jonathan finally is able to get the best of Dio. And, well, this is where the stone mask comes into play. Well, they grow up, a time skip happens, and Jonathan and Dio are on a rugby team, and you know it's shown they have this incredible bond. They're these two strongest dudes on the field, and no one could take them down. And well, George, Jonathan's father, gets sick, and after discovering some letters of Dio's, Jonathan has a suspicion that Dio has been poisoning him the whole time. Well, obviously it comes true, and Dio's backed into a corner. This is where he says, "Jojo, I deny my humanity," and throws on the mask. And, well, kills himself, but he doesn't kill himself.
Because he comes back to life.
Because he comes back to life as a vampire. Yes, Dio is a vampire at this point, and all hell ensues. Where Jonathan is trying to become stronger to fight Dio, and eventually finds a master in Will Zeppeli, or as known in the subbed version, Baron Zeppeli, and teaches him the way of Hammond and this type of energy that is come from your breathing. It's like a life force kind of energy that you can use to deal damage to people, and is what ultimately causes the downfall of Dio, which, if you watch further seasons, not for very long. And there's an interesting character who, when Jonathan is, just going and finding out where this poison came from, which is Robert E.O. Speedwagon, or R.E.O. Speedwagon.
Good old Speedwagon.
Speedwagon is the best waifu of the show, as dubbed by the JoJo community.
And he stays in the show for a very long... Actually, not even him, but his name even stays prevalent for a very long time, which is insane.
And so, he stays in for the Speedwagon becomes the Speedwagon Foundation, and he's in the anime for a long time. But his impact is major. And so, obviously, Jonathan confronts Dio for the final time and defeats Dio. Well, you think it's over, and this is pretty much the final episode. He's with Erina on this boat. They've gotten married. They reconnect in the anime. And she is pregnant with his kid. Well, Jonathan discovers that there's a vampire on board, that Dio's bloodline, Dio was able to infect somebody else and that was alive still. And one final battle ensues that ends up costing Jonathan his life. And if you know anything about Stardust Crusaders, his body. And, well... Dio gets his revenge in the end and kills Jonathan, and thankfully Erina and this new baby that they find after Dio kills this other mother and her pregnant child escape and leads into battle tendency. I know we skipped over a fair bit about the section, but those are the main points that you need to discover. Overall, this is the perfect entry into an anime as bizarre as this, because it's not really bizarre. But what ensues beyond this first telling of the story... It just goes haywire. It goes crazier and crazier and crazier. And the next JoJo spot we're going to cover is going to be Battle Tendency. And we're going to just go along from there. And it may be a while before we do it, but...
We'll definitely get back to it.
We'll definitely get back to it. Very, very exciting stuff. And overall, this anime is... probably one of the best anime I've ever seen. Araki is a genius storyteller. Now, the JoJo community is kind of bad, but the anime and stuff, don't let a community's badness fool you. The anime is really, really good. The memes that it has spawned are probably some of the best anime memes out there. And overall, this anime is phenomenal. Espen, do you have any thoughts about Phantom Blood in general?
No, but Phantom Blood really took the cake for me when I first started watching it. It was just really good, and to be honest, when I was watching this, I expected something to happen in like one episode, and it'd be completely the opposite. It always keeps you on your toes, because you think something's gonna happen, and then just like, oh yeah, let's just throw another curveball and another one, which is why I believe they call it Bizarre Adventures, because like you never know what's gonna happen next, which is what, like, because some animes you'll watch, I'll be like, okay, I see the same repetitive thing, I'm gonna take a break. With Phantom Blood, I could not take a break. I had to watch it all in one sitting, and it was great. It was a blast.
Overall, this anime is probably, especially this season, probably one of the best seasons in anime in general, and overall just really, really good. And we encourage you guys to watch it and start watching JoJo. It's a really, really interesting and good journey. And so, this episode's going to be a lot shorter than I envision it being, just because we kind of got through everything, and unfortunately with me being sick, we got to kind of cut our studio time short a little bit. Well, overall, Magic Fest Detroit should be a great time. And I have another week to recover, so I should be on my A game there. I shouldn't be this sick, and it should be a good time. I have a whole week to recover, and I'm very, very excited. And Espen, do you have any final thoughts about Magic Fest Detroit?
I'm excited to see you all there.
Yeah, if you see us, come say hey, jam a game, and
we can talk, we can share stories, ideas.
We'll sign cards. I'll sign whatever card you want me to sign. Get your brass men ready.
Get your brass men ready.
We will sign as many of those as you want us to sign. as long as you sub to the channel.
Nice.
So, well, I think that'll do it for the Brass Gaming Podcast. I'm Christian.
And I'm Espen.
And we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.